call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change, I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame, no I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. Going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing, I'll regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. That energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing, y'all? Hopefully everybody's doing good. We see CJ, Morticia, Country Christian, Lori, Charlie Girl, True Smiles. How you guys doing today? I know it's the middle of the day. We were trying a little something different, especially on the serious channel. I think we'll save the comedy one for the evening time, you know? Charlie Girl, you got it right. The crew revealed. That's right. Yep, that's the ladies there, the girls, you know. Yeah, I love that intro. That's Fancy made that intro. Morticia over there, she made that intro. It's awesome. Well, it's a little video, but you know, it's a little. I thought would be cool as an intro. So, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully, depending on where you're at, I know it's pretty hot where I'm at, so hopefully everybody's staying somewhat cool. It's been horrible. I was working down south this week and it was brutal. Walk out to the car without melting. I swear I became part of the concrete parking lot. Oh, you love the dog. That's Doug. You know, of course, Eloise calls him Mojo, but that's Doug the pug. My 16-year-old came up with that name, so you know. Yeah, she did a great job on that, didn't she? She's so talented with that. As far as I know, she enjoys doing it. So, yeah, you know, Country Christian, I heard about the rain. There's some floods and stuff going on. I know my nieces, they live out there in Missouri, and they got flooded, their basement, and they lost some stuff out there. Oh my goodness! And then Kentucky's getting hit hard too. Yeah, we love Doug the pug. He came from a situation where he wasn't very well loved, but I don't understand why. He's just got the cutest little face, and he's so sweet. You know. today's topic, I've just been doing a lot of thinking about it. And, because we do have, I was adopted as well as my siblings. I was adopted, and the four of them were adopted by another family 5 years after I was. That kind of stuff doesn't happen today, uh, you know, but back then, years ago, we won't say how many, but years ago, it was acceptable that they did that. Oh, there's Maple Jane. Oh my goodness, guys. Sorry. Maple, stop. Um, but I have children that I have adopted as well. And hold on a second. Come on. Come on, Maple, let's go inside. You are. Tricked out. She's inside now. But I get to drive for work a lot, and I had a long little 4-hour drive and there and back. So, I have a lot of time to think and to stew about things and go over them in my head. And, I just do a lot of thinking about our children and how it affects them. And my sister came up with a real, she had watched this doctor um, talk about, the different abuses that happen and how they affect you. They don't just affect our mental state. And, we see it when our children are growing up. We see the things that their reactions to things. I've got a 13-year-old. He has no respect for women, which is a battle between me and him. Well, really between him because, I know I'm going to be just fine. But really working on that, and it comes out in school when he has female teachers. He's a good kid, guys. He's not a bad kid. He won't mouth off to the male teachers, but he will a female teacher. Um, he'll mouth off to me, not his dad. He'll actually sit there and scream and yell at me. And this is, understandable. If you knew his whole story and what he'd been through, it doesn't make excuses for it. And yes, we need to try to turn this around and try our best to give him the tools to cope with it and to deal with it and to get past that whole, not every woman is going to basically, all intents and purposes, screw you over. And for him, when your own mother doesn't care enough to stop doing what she's doing, failure to protect, that kind of thing, those have really deep, deep scars on a person. I know at my age, I still think about things that our bio parents did, and I, think about adults what they didn't do. How many failed to protect all of us as children, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about it now. It's like, no, you need to step up, you need to protect your child, correct them, make them do whatever, but don't abuse them, feed them, do what you got to do. Um, but I see how it's, each one of our kiddos, the I hate to say damage, but that's so the best word I can come up with is the damage that it does. Well, this doctor, thinking about all this doctor my sister was telling me about, it actually goes further than just mental, behavioral, that kind of thing. It actually will, they said that it changes the way your DNA is read, that it will put you in an increase for health risks by, so, the percentage is just crazy for heart disease, lung cancer. I mean, you would think it, but in the way they explain it, it makes sense, and they have a scoring system every time something has happened. You get a point for it, and we joke around and, oh, finally a test we can score really high on, and pass. Cool. Um, but it is a very real thing for these kiddos, and how, uh, my husband and I always hope that we're doing the best that we can, but there's times that it's like you get so frustrated and you're like, when you're battling, DVSA, they're the ghosts of the past. And that's really what I feel like I'm battling is a ghost when it comes to some of, my kiddos. It's something I cannot get a hold of. I can't do anything about it. I can't touch it. I can't make it go away. I can't, wish it away or whatever. Um, but it's there. It really does remind me of a ghost where it's like, oh, it haunts you, right? But there isn't anything that, you know, I can't get to it and catch it and, you know, kick them out or anything. So, it's just where do we go with that? And then I think too of, the child abuse and things that it can lead to. And I really do, and I know some people might think I'm wrong, but I can see how certain situations a person may live their life the best that they can, but then, they make some choices perhaps they shouldn't make. Turning to drugs, perhaps alcohol, to deaden that pain. And I get it. I'm like, man, I so totally get that you just want to escape that. Um, but that's, my opinion, my thought on it. Uh, you know, it's just for me, I deal with it with comedy. I think my sister, Gloria Morticia, she does too. Um, where it's like, okay, you got to find the humor in life and you've got to laugh, because if you don't have that, I just feel like I could just be a real miserable person. I think a lot of people could. Some people I think do have that. Um, but like I said, I've just been doing a lot of thinking about it, and trying to give our kids the best tools to, I don't know, you want to say overcome or um, control, I guess, because when you're a child, you don't have any control over anything that happens to you. You have no choice, no say. So, I'm always looking for other avenues of how to hand that control over to my children and say, look, you do have control over this. You decide your destination, not those people who hurt you before. And in my eyes, I just look at it like you cannot let them win. And I know it's not about winning and losing, but in my eyes, that's just how I break it down is I'm not going to let you win. I'm not going to let you still have that power and control over me. This is my life. I have to make the choices and decisions that are best for me, and try to be a good person, um, just not let that rule me and destroy my life from here on out, you know. But how do we give those to our children? We try the best that we can, and all I can do is talk with them, and I guess try to educate them. Yeah, truth smiles. Just support them through it, thick and thin. And I tell you what, it's thick and thin, boy. I tell you, it's not easy to deal with it. It's not easy to go through it, and it's not easy to deal with it either. Like we have with some of our kiddos, um, we do have contact with some of the biological family, and our other kiddos we do not have contact with. And as a person who was adopted, I see the need for them to have contact. From that aspect, I do feel it's very important if you can possibly, allow that contact to be there, because it's not their fault that parents couldn't do what they needed to do, get off the drugs, whatever the situations is for each individual. It's not their fault. And so if we can maintain a contact, we do. Now, as the mother who's adopted, there is that part of me. I'm not going to lie. Okay. I always say that, but I'm not going to lie. There is a part of me that just becomes the bear. And I'm like, no, you're not going to have anything to do with this child. This is my child. We're done. Um, to protect them. Right. But I had to step back and go, well, who's dangerous for them? And even with the contact that we have with the family members that we do have a contact with, I don't feel any threat at all to my children. They love them. They just want to have contact with them. They want to see them grow up, that kind of thing. We do visits and stuff. But a couple of our kiddos, there is no contact whatsoever, because there was a lot of physical things that happened to them. And there was, sorry, I'm not trying to get emotional, but the whole family, there wasn't one adult in the family that was not on drugs. And I mean, this was like, when they say keep it together, they keep it in the family kind of thing. They really did. So with that particular situation, I do have to step back and say, no, you're not going to hurt my child any more than you already have. You've done enough damage, and there is no contact. And that breaks my heart for them. And it also breaks my heart for the Bio family because they're just so messed up. They can't get their life straight, even for the children. And that to me is sad. Um, but like I said, with that, domestic violence that goes, childhood, infancy, um, goes so deep, so deep, and so the effects that you think just because they're a little itty bitty baby that it doesn't affect them, it does. And we have one that we have things that pop up, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, um, you can't do physical damage and basically starve a child, not feed them, and not have long term effects. The way I always look at it is their mind may not remember it all, but their body does. And when you have head trauma, we're still dealing with some of that. So DV of children, it just none of it's okay, of course, but I just don't understand when you hurt a child, an infant like that. Oh, Barbie, we haven't seen you in a while. It didn't happen for us in the late 50s and 60s. Yeah. Yeah, it was a different time. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's I think when the kind of 80s and 90s when they really did more groundbreaking. Hey, we don't remove just one child. If one child has to be removed, then they're all going. And the push to keep siblings together because that's another, thing. CJ says we want to help support the next generation of our kids to be broken free from the cycles and trauma that bound us. Yes. Yes. Um, that's very true. It's and all we can do is do our best. And there are times that I go, oh my gosh, I'm failing. I'm just failing my kids. I'm failing as a parent. And you're like, "Oh, okay, hold on, let me step back. Don't let my frustration level get the best of me. Hold on, because if I'm failing my child, I'm not being a good parent, and I really want to be a good mom. I do. I don't want to be, I don't want to make all these mistakes and not do the best that I can for my children. And kids don't always make it easy, do they? I mean, they make it hard sometimes, but well, as the adults, we got to step up. And I don't want to ever have my kids look at me and like be like, well, you're like the adults from my childhood, you know. But those things that they do, I tell you, sometimes I really have to just walk. You know what? Go to your room. I'm gonna walk away and I'm gonna breathe because right now I really want to whoop you. I really, really irritated with you right now, and I just let me just breathe and figure out how to deal with this situation. And that's the thing is I think with parenting we are always trying to I am anyways try to evolve and to be a better parent, and they deserve that. They deserve to have a good parent. Oh, good, Barbie. I'm glad you're on the upside of your surgery. Oh, true smiles. I have 12 children. Yep, you heard me, 12. So this younger set of kiddos, kind of trying. Um, they are trying me, I tell you. They're but you love them because they're really good kids, and everybody will say that. Oh, they're good kids, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, you should be at home with them. When they're trying to burn the house down or they're stealing money out of somebody's wallet. I mean, the different stuff kids do, and it's like, I came home and there was a cabinet door broken off in the bathroom. And a bathroom we hadn't redone yet, thank goodness. And I says, I think I might wait a while before I redo this one because they're gonna just destroy it, aren't they? Um, kids are kids. My husband's gonna fix it and put it back up. It is what it is, I guess. Um, no, Charlie girl, I wish I was an awesome mom. I have had those moments where Even my kids are like, "Mom, what are you doing?" Like, "I'm frustrated. Leave me alone. I'm trying to breathe. Just give me a second to figure out what I'm gonna do." Um, and it is hard, like I said, when you're dealing with those ghosts of the past. And you're like, "Okay, well, just give me the tools to do this and to be a better parent and to meet them at their level and their expectation." And I have to remind myself of that all the time. Allow me to meet them at their level. And, you know, I know it sounds terrible, but even my husband and I, and you're not supposed to, I know, but it's like you compare and you're like, when my oldest was 13, they didn't act like that. They didn't do this crap. Well, of course not, because my oldest one wasn't through the stuff that this one has gone through. And, so I had to remind myself, and my husband reminds himself. We remind each other of those moments when one of us may be weaker, and they're like, "Hey, remember, this is why we did this, da 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 da." So we're really good like that, where thank goodness we're not both frustrated at the same time usually. Or at least one of us is always able to pull the other one back and remind them, "Hey, and you want to just go in your room and just throw yourself on the bed and cry and go, why?" Um, the other one of us is able to pull back and go, "Hey, remember why we did this? And remember what this one's been through, yada yada yada." Drag it back up and remind ourselves, this is what we're dealing with. So we're not dealing with children who had I don't know how do you want to say, a better start in life. Hadn't been through those traumatic events. Uh, you know, um, my 13-year-old he really went through some crap. At 6 years old, he'd sit there and tell me things that no 6-year-old should know, have been through anything. And it just broke my heart. And so I do have to remember it's not excuses to allow him to do things, but it's okay. I need to give him some tools to get through this. Oh yeah, fix my beauty spot. You're right. Yeah, little man does like to do that. But you love them, and they're really. I do love my kids. You know, um, and they are cuties and sweeties most of the time. Well, I don't even know. Maybe that's just me saying that. they, they can get away with some stuff, but it's just the whole, you know, the violence towards children and the abuse that happens. It's lifelong. You just wish you could take these parents and, like our younger ones, they were born addicted to some stuff. And I remember going through it when they were newborns. And I used to tell the caseworker, I was like, look, I said, you know what I think should happen? I think these parents should have to sit here and watch this child go through this. The terrors, the tremors, the screaming. Uh, if you've dealt with a baby who's born addicted, there's certain things that happen and they go through. Whether it would change their mind or make them behave or whatever, I don't know. Make their choices different, who knows? But even, our little one, we found out they're twins. His sister's vision is great. His is not. His is really bad. Um, and doctor is leaning towards, because he was born addicted. So his vision was affected, just something that simple. Well, not simple, but even down to that, you've affected his vision because of the choices you made while you were pregnant. Now we could go further, I guess, and I do wonder sometimes what were their childhood, what was their childhood like? I don't know, but at a certain point, you're responsible for yourself and have to make your own decisions and your choices that are best for you. It's just a hard one, you know. But watching that one doctor, I have to pull up her name. Yeah, Charlie girl, exactly. Yeah, figured out when my boys were little that their actions were a lot of the time actually reactions to how I was acting and how I handled things. Yeah, I've seen that. Uh, with my 13-year-old, he's, if he does something in a fight, say something, he gets real offensive. And it's like he needs a little bit more explanation. Hey, this is why you shouldn't have done that. Like he just feels sometimes like, he's getting, I don't want to say I'm ganging up on him because it's just me, but like I'm attacking him and that's not how I mean it. So I have to slow down and okay, and make sure my actions are not getting more of a reaction from him. You're absolutely right about that. All traumatized by their mom. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is when you're traumatized from your own mother, to me that's a huge one. It's bad when it's the dad, and it's horrible when it's the mom too. Okay? I'm not saying that, but it's almost like your mom who gave birth to you. Wow. Is it my just way I think society, I guess, you have dads that walk out of the picture and they're out, but mom's usually the stronghold standing there, right? But when your mom doesn't, your own mother can't get her life straight. Maple's in there crying. I don't know if y'all can hear her, but she's right at the door crying. Um, when your mother does it, I think that does make a huge impact in in your life and how you do things and view things, and I especially in our 13-year-old situation, the things that happened. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it just there was a lot of failure from her, a lot of hurt from her, and you can tell I think he really resents that, which I understandably, you know. I'll drop the link in case anybody does want to come up. I know this isn't a real fun topic, but it's definitely a topic that I deal with, and I know that a lot of other people have to deal with it too. Yeah, how much is a doggy in the window? I don't know. You tell me. I'll tell you how much I'll pay you to take her. No, I'm just kidding. She chooses drugs every time over the kids, and it's such a shame because they're amazing, beautiful, strong young women. Yes, that's what I think is so sad, and it is so hurtful when the mom does that. Like wow, and I'll say this is that I know that there was for me, and it's something that I battled just from our childhood, just being honest. Um, I just think, well, if my own mother didn't even want me or care enough to do what she needed to do, um, well, who in the world else would care about you like that? Who else would love you? Because your mom's supposed to love you more than anybody in the world, right? I mean, that's what I think with my kids. I feel like um, I love my kids so much. I mean, I would lay down my life for them. I would not want to walk this earth without them. And I just think, well, if your own mother doesn't care enough to step up, well, like I said, no one else is going to love you like that, right? You just, I don't know. My mind is just kind of like you're worthless. You're nothing. Um, and that's something I work with and deal with. Country Christian. Yeah, tomorrow night. I mean, we have to get with Gloria and see how she's feeling. Hey, Ink, how you doing, girl? So that's just what's been on my mind a lot. Just dealing with kiddos and those challenging times, and of course, our 13-year-old is getting ready. He's starting puberty, and that's oh my goodness, those should be some fun times. But he's lucky. He's got siblings who love and care for him. Because we do have a big family, and all my kids are blessed because my kids are really close. They're a tight group, and they stand up and defend each other in a heartbeat. And wow, so they're lucky with that. And my kids are, like I said, doing the foster care and adoption. my husband and I always looked at it, this is a family ordeal. This is not just us. It's the whole family. Everyone in the home is involved. Every sibling, even the cat and dogs. Um, but my kids really learned a lot from that experience, and I was really blessed that they did. And they have understanding, and it got to a point where, because we had over 90 kids that came through our home, and my kids got to the point where they were like me, they'd be like, Mom, I think this child has, been left alone. Do you see what they're doing? Or, Mom, this child has definitely had lack of food. Look at this. Like they could spot those little things, or, hey, this one's been hit, or something's going on, and I don't mean hit like a spanking. Um, but they saw those things and could identify them. So I was really grateful that my children got to learn that, and they had empathy. And like my son, who's 16, almost 17, he had said to me one day, and to me this was so profound. um and this was, I meant to touch on this a minute ago and I got sidetracked, sorry guys. um it was a couple years ago, and he had said, you know Mom, I don't know what I would do if somebody came and took me from my home and told me that I was never going to go back with my parents again. And he was referring to our now 13-year-old. He was talking about that because he was well old enough to understand what was going on. Not to comprehend it all, to fully comprehend it, but he was old enough to understand. He definitely was aware. Um, and that broke my heart. I think my son at the time was 13, 12 or 13 when he said it. And I just looked at him and was like, wow. And he's just, that would just horrify me. And it just broke my heart that he understood that much, that, hey, this little guy's, hurting, and all of his contact, no matter how bad the home life is, it's a loss for them. But that also, leads down to, once you terminate rights, that alone is a traumatic event right there. When you remove a child from a home, that's a traumatic event. Terminate the parental rights, it's a traumatic event for your child. So when termination came, you're always like, okay, good, so they don't have to go back to a really horrible situation. But it always made me cry. I was crying because I was happy, but I was crying because I was devastated, because it's a finalized, you're cutting off that connection that they have with the biological family. Yeah, Inc. They are smarter than we give them credit for. I agree. And like I said, you just listen to your kids and let them speak, and it's like, wow, it's amazing the things that they do comprehend and understand. And my 16-year-old, he is very empathetic, and he's really good at it. It's just like, wow, he's a sweetheart. But for him to understand that, like I said, he was 12 or 13, and I thought, wow, he's really thought about that. Really thought about it, processed it, and thought, wow, um, which is a good thing. So when we are having hard moments, and people in the house may want to be like, okay, you know what, we need to figure out what to do with this one because we're not happy with this one. They can, when we do stop and reflect, going, hey, remember how we got to this point, why we're at this point, and what's going on. And Dad and I have to step back and pull them back and go, okay, what's going on? You know, I know I've been at my wit's end, and last Saturday, I think I was like, okay, that's it. You know what? I just go to your room. I don't want to see you for the rest of the summer. And that's not a good parent, right? So I had to sit down and do some thinking, and I pulled him out, and I hugged him, told him I loved him, and I said, I'm always going to love you, and I'm always going to be here. And I'm going to be here for you no matter what. No matter what behaviors you're doing, I'm still here. And he just hugged me so tight. And, because I have to remind myself that when I'm dealing with him, I'm dealing with someone who's been hurt by his biological mother so deeply that it's almost like it's embedded in him, like, so if I remind myself of that, I can deal with him in a better manner, you know. I, Okay, Morticia, you clear with Country Christian over there. I am. I'm off this week, so well, I'm taking off this week. I do have a doctor's appointment, and my nieces are coming into town, so but they're just coming for a little visit. They're not going to live here. Just coming for a couple days. But I know there's been some hot subject matters on drug addiction, and I've heard it a lot lately, where they say a drug addiction affects everyone. It seems like you either know someone, it's affected you in some way, shape, or form, fashion. Mental health, I think, is another one. Um, I know in the cases that we had with almost all of our kiddos, there was 2 out of over 90 children. 90, Um, now some of those, were sibling groups and stuff, but there was only 2 cases where it was mental health. Like there's serious mental things going on. Drugs were not involved. Every other situation was drug related. And it's a huge one. When you're doing drugs, you're not taking care of your children a lot of times, adequately, I should say. And some of the things that you do see, I know that foster care takes a big hit, guys. I know they do. But they are needed. I'm not saying in every case. I know there's situations where perhaps they don't need to be in, but I know there's cases where there are situations they need to go in and take the children and they do not. We had one here a few years ago. It was really, oh my gosh. This little girl was 13 and she begged them and begged them. And this is one where CPS let her down. She didn't make it. And that was a hard one. And it's just rough, drugs and addiction, and there's so many different avenues you can go down. I've got a sibling battling addiction, and it's no fun. Our other brother um, passed away from addiction, and something that I don't like to talk about a whole lot, but I was sitting there thinking about it yesterday, and how these situations come up, and I think to myself, please don't, please let me be a good enough parent that my child, I hope, doesn't turn to that. I don't know. And then I think, well, it's not anything about being a good parent or not. If they're going to do it and they're going to go down that path, that's what they're going to do. And I just, I pray that they don't go down that pathway and turn to drugs. I can easily see how they'd want to, though, just to kill that pain. I do get that aspect where, they say, oh, I just don't want to feel it anymore, so I go and use drugs. I'm not saying that makes it right, guys. Please don't think that. I'm just saying I can see where it could lead to that. And I know our brother passing away. That was a kick in the arse, I tell you. It really was. But I want to say this. I was reminding myself yesterday. When I found out he had passed away, where I was actually told, like I knew, I say, don't you wish you didn't know what you knew? I think I knew like spiritually, I knew he was gone. But I was searching for them, my siblings, because we were separated. But um, I got the news that he had passed, and I remember we were at Busch Gardens out there in Virginia, standing at the swings, in line for the swings, one of my favoriteest rides. I don't know why, they're scary, and I'm always thinking they're going to snap and go flying off and hit the roof, but I never do. But I still like the ride. And we were there with our oldest 2 and 2 of their best friends. And that's where I found out I was at Busch Gardens at an amusement park. And I just think to myself, afterwards, of course, I thought, you know what? Well, my brother was, I thank him for sending that message to me that way because it was because of him and his obituary is how I found my siblings. So, by finding this all out and everything, I look back and I was like, he was telling me, he's sending me that message of, sis, life is a fun ride. Ride it while you can and go for it. Remember the laughter and the smiling faces. That's what's important. Have fun with life, you know? And that's the message I try to take away from that. 'Cause I don't like to think that my brother would be like that. Here's a cruel joke. You're going to find out I passed away at an amusement park. Ha ha, Um, torturing me, I suppose, but, Oh, okay. Sorry, True Smiles. Okay. I am Shining. Okay, Rebecca. And this is the serious page. On our comedy channel, I'm Eloise. Morticia on here, or real name Gloria, she's Fancy over on our page. And yes, we are sisters in real life. We joke around saying we're cousins, but we really, we're sisters. Fancy and Eloise are sisters. Shining and Morticia are. Rebecca and Gloria are. She's my much older sister by 3 years. Of course, I say much wiser, but we know that's not true. She's probably in here going, okay, whatever. I struggled myself, so I just completely, but you did something about it. That's what managed it. Yeah, and that's all we can do is try to do something about it, right? I mean, that's what I tell myself anyways. And I know growing up, my brother, who was adopted from another family, um, he made some really stinky choices for a while. And my mom used to get so upset, she just, I don't understand. And she used to tell me all the time, out of the two of you, I figured you would be the one in all this kind of trouble because, I had 4 years of that, whereas he was a year old. And, so he was taken out at a year. I was 4. And, she always just assumed that I had more years with it. I could remember more, that I would have been the one that was in trouble, doing things I shouldn't be doing. And I just told her, I was like, Mom, he's a kid. He was a young adult then, but I said, we all make our own choices. At some point, you're accountable for you. It doesn't matter what your past was. You decide what direction your life is going to go. And I think he probably would have done it even if he hadn't been in the situation he was. He just was a wild child for a while. He's got his life straightened out now. Hey, yeah. Love you too, woman. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Oh, here we go. Look who's here.
Hello, can you hear me, sis?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You feeling okay?
I am just
Good,
a
good,
little
good.
tired, but feeling good.
Aw.
The monitor.
Oh, your new jewelry, huh? Well, don't let
We're new
Fancy find
jewelry.
out.
I just wanted to pop on and say hi. Or, Morticia, Gloria,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah.
A little bit of Fancy in all of us.
I think there is. I think everybody has a little bit of Fancy, Eloise, Delilah,
Right? Little Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
pretty serious subject. And I didn't want to come up and make light of anything.
Oh, no, I know. But, if you don't have comedy, Gloria, you just get overweighted by the seriousness of life. So,
Well, that's true. But there's a time for everything as well. And sometimes my timing's a little off, almost borderline inappropriate, but
I get that. I know I have to really keep my mouth shut time because I'm like, too soon? Okay. I won't say anything.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of wading through that is a challenge at times, especially when humor is your defense mechanism.
Yeah,
It
that's
can be difficult just to stop yourself and say, no, let's feel the bad stuff too. Because you should
yeah,
be present for everything. And it's okay to have those down times and those serious moments. But don't forget your humor. Don't lose that, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I know. Sometimes I wish I didn't have those serious downsides, you know.
right.
Mine seem
And
to always go when I'm in the car driving, you know? Like, I
oh
can't
yeah,
see, I'm crying.
those still quiet moments when you don't have too much of a distraction going about, you know, in your case, all the children and husbands and demands of home life um, do act as a distraction. But when you're driving and you're alone and it's just you and the radio, you know, it's easy to let your thoughts drift and to start thinking about things. Um, so that's understandable.
Yeah,
You know, for me, it's if I'm because I've worked a night shift for so long, you know, I tend to be up when everybody's sleeping. And I might just be sitting in this chair or um, up and cleaning or what have you, but I'm alone with my thoughts then. So
yeah,
a lot of times, and then those thoughts might keep me up longer, you know, um,
exactly.
with all the tears uh, and healing, though everything it seems to be aimed at healing. I made a comment earlier today that, damn it, I have to be in my 50s, you know, and I'm starting to feel like I'm healing.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
a lifetime.
it's a lifetime thing. And so the truth was is that I was healing in my 20s and 30s and 40s, but I'm starting to feel it now that I'm in my 50s.
Good.
You
That's
know,
good, you know, like, and I think
most
sometimes
things.
I'll trick myself. I'm good. I'm good. You know, oh, I've already got therapy. I've, you know, because my parents got me therapy and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, but like I said, there are those moments where it sinks in, like, oh, well, when your own mother didn't care enough,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, and it's like, stop playing those mind games on yourself, you know?
right. You know, those feelings of abandonment come
Hmm.
up in different situations, and sometimes things come up when you're least expecting them. You
Yeah,
know, there might be a trigger. Somebody says something, and you've never realized it was a trigger. It
exactly.
might just bring up an emotion that you weren't expecting to deal with that moment.
Exactly. And you know, I've said that before is that we don't even know our own triggers.
Right.
And 2 years from now, something may pop up and trigger, and sometimes you don't even realize it at that moment, you know? And so when we don't even know what triggers us, there's no way we know what triggers everybody else. We don't know
Right.
what triggers our children. And that's what I think that's what makes it so challenging is that you do have to step back and go, okay, how am I going to get through this one? How am I going to help this child get through this? When
Right.
I got to sit back and figure out what's going on, what was the trigger, you know, uh-oh, you know,
Yeah,
and
and
then
help kind of guide them through. And um, I would just say to you, take some reassurance and peace in knowing that there wasn't a lot of help for us in our time of going through that. I mean, you did have parents that pushed for counseling and whatnot, but we have gained much knowledge over the decades.
yeah,
And so hopefully, just the fact that you recognize certain triggers and take the time to stop, and when you can't see it immediately, to investigate and find out what's triggered your little one, you know, that's going to go a long ways to their health down the road, you know. And like you
yeah,
said, you can't fix what's happened to them, but you can help fix their future And I think you're doing a great job, even though you don't give yourself enough credit.
Yeah, well, thank you. But I know I'm a work in progress, you know. I think everybody is, but I know I'm a work in progress. Especially with these younger ones, you know, it's like, whoa, uh-oh. Hold on a second. I've got to become a I really feel like I'm having to become a whole different mom because I have to completely parent these children differently than,
Yeah, than the older ones,
yeah,
your own biological children. You may love them in the same manner because you have that mama's heart.
yeah,
But even in our biological children, um, someone told me once, if you love all your children the same, because that was always the claim, I love all of you equally, I love all of you the same. If you love each child the same, then you don't know each child.
yeah,
I mean, we can overall love our children as mothers, because that's what we are. But to know each child, there's individual things that you love about that child.
yeah. You love
Each
'em-
child does require a different approach.
yeah. And then you could say you love them equally
Well,
in their own,
sure.
in their own way. You know, like I love this
Yeah,
child as much as I love the next one, but like you said, you do have to know individuals.
right.
And like I said, I had to be a whole different parent
Right.
for
Like
each.
for each of my children, I would run out in front of a bus to save them. Same
Yeah,
with my grandchildren. But
yeah,
each one of my children does require something different
yeah,
from each other, from me. You
yeah.
know, my daughter was born a grown up. I swear to God. You know, she was
Yeah,
just pretty much the easiest, knew everything from birth. Both of my boys um, were a little more challenging as little ones, and the youngest far more challenging than the other two.
yeah, but there's, you know, and you love each one of them. And with the youngest one there, he, I know it's like cut it out, stop, you know, but there's just something about him that you just love his spirit. Like
Right.
he is just, hey, Aunt Mackie, blah 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 blah. Blah. You
Yeah. And today he turns 22.
know, I told him happy birthday. Yeah, on his
Yeah.
Facebook
Well,
page.
he's currently incarcerated. Um, Hopefully, I mean, it's not a huge serious crime that he's committed, but he has failed to meet some responsibilities, and that's part of growing up there too. And he's got a ways to go, um, but hopefully lessons will be learned. You know,
Yeah,
it's my heart that I can't spend his birthday with him. Um, Same time, I know where he is. I know he's not getting in any trouble.
true,
Yeah, just
true. Yeah. Yeah, but you know, he's just, you know, he's a special little soul there. He is. He's something else, I tell you. You know, Aunt Mackie, look at me. I'm baby Jesus.
oh gosh, yeah. And she's saying that because he was about 3 when we reunited,
I thought he was two, or it was Mason two.
2 or 3,
He
and
was
he
three,
had
yeah,
done
Mason was two.
something. He had ran down the road and took
Yeah,
off running, and everybody's chasing him. I think his dad was in the car. We were on foot, and when we caught up to him, he knew he was in trouble, and he threw himself down on the ground. And he spread out his arms like he was hanging on the cross. And he
yeah.
said, Aunt Mackie, look at me, I'm Jesus.
It was like, uh-oh.
Where did that come from? But it was like, you wouldn't spank baby Jesus, would you? He still got to spank it.
I was one of those moments, it's like, I know I'm so not supposed to laugh, but I've got to turn around. I can't do this. Like, dude, you just scared
Baby
the crap
Jesus.
out of us running into traffic, you know? And he was
Right.
running. Man, he was better than Forrest Gump that day. I tell you, I was like, whoa, this little booger's fast.
Yeah, he was pretty fast. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, true smiles is their individuals' needs are important. Yeah, they are very important. And
Yes.
each need looks so different from the next. And you
Yeah.
really do have to go and parent them to their special qualifications there, you know?
Yeah,
Like, wow.
he's like the child that wants to shock you. Um, and I don't know if you've got one like that, sis.
Well, I don't know about really shocking, but, well, I mean, he does kind of get a thrill out of that. You know, his eyes really glisten, you know? Oh, I got
I
you,
think so.
you know?
Yeah.
And then when he gets in trouble, he's like, oh, his eyes go
Yeah.
down. He's like, oops. He doesn't think because he's, you know, ADHD, and
Yeah.
whatever else is going on in that head of his, I don't know. Uh, sometimes I wonder, but he does not slow down and think of the consequences of his actions. He does
Right.
not stop to think, what I'm about to do is going to break this. What I am about to do is going to hurt someone or myself, you know.
Yeah.
He thinks at that moment, oh, this looks like fun, I'm going to do it. Doesn't get past to that point because he's so quick about it. So he doesn't even give
Right.
himself a chance to realize, hey, if I jump off of this, I'm going to get hurt. You know, like I'm going to impale myself on that, you know, thing over there. You know,
Yeah.
and then he's like, oh crap, you know, and he's really smart. And you know, he does have medicine that I don't like to give him all the time because they has to have liver testing and all that, and I hate that. You know,
Hmm.
but for school he has to be on it because it's interfering with his education. But he's when he's on his meds, his teachers are like, wow, he's amazing. Super, super smart,
Yeah.
which I kept trying to tell him he's really smart, you know, but it allows him to slow down enough to where he can concentrate and get it done.
Do you
Um,
know with um, Shane, one of the doctors? So let's take him off of this med and that med, and let's put him on. It was fish oil, omega-3. He said it sounds hokey, but there are actual studies that within 2 to 3 months, significant changes occur in the ADHD child.
really?
Yeah,
Uh,
there's just look into it. I mean, little Shane refused to take it. You can get them in capsules, um, the fish oil, uh, but he refused a lot of meds at that age. Once we started pulling him off of things, he was done with medication, and by that age, he had say in that. So, um,
yeah,
but it's worth a shot. It's natural. It doesn't cause all the damage that other meds can cause.
I'm going to look into that because I'm all about more of a natural, you know, and I have to take him
Yeah,
in every so often and have blood work done, you know, because making sure it's not
right.
damaging his liver. And I'm like, look, doc, I don't give it to him because it's not time release or anything. So when he takes it during school, it only lasts during school. He has to take it twice a day. I don't give it to him on the weekends or in the summertime, or you know, like any kind of breaks that we have during school. He doesn't get them. So
Right.
you know, it's not like I have to have him built up on it and has to stay in the system or anything. So you know, that was one requirement for me was no, I'm not going to give it to him when we're home. I can deal with them. But I do think sometimes that everybody else in the family needs them to be on it. And perhaps I do too, just to have a couple moments of could you, you know, because it only lasts 3 to 4 hours. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, oh, just give me even just an hour. Could we just do something for an hour? I'd be okay with that.
Right. Just a little pace,
Yeah.
and it does help the rest of the family because that squeaky wheel, as they say, gets
Yeah.
all the grease.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it looking back, I was so preoccupied with um, little Shane's shenanigans, if you will, the daily calls to the school and um, just the challenges that he put before me. That
Yeah.
sometimes because Harley and Eli were calmer kids, then a lot of things that they needed from me went unmet.
Yeah. Yeah. I get
You
that.
know, and they too were dealing with little
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
his everything was out there with him. And, you know, if I could go back, I would take the time to make sure that I knew what was going on with Eli and Harley on just as much of a continuum as I was with Shane. I'd be just
Yeah.
as focused.
Yeah, and I think that's something we have to remind ourselves of, because you do get so hyper fixed on dealing with this child because it is so overwhelming.
Right.
And I've got two especially that are more overwhelming. Um,
Right.
all the little ones are challenging, but two of them in particular are, I don't want to say more serious or just,
Right. They have strong needs for
yeah.
sure.
And it's like, okay, hold on. And my other kids remind me though, they're like, oh, it's always about this. It's always about that. They verbalize that to me.
Hmm.
So when you raise your kids to open their mouths and, talk to you, you kind of hear things sometimes. I think,
You know,
yeah, got
I
it.
know in my adopted family, my adopted sister, Christina. She is one day shy of a year older than me. And I remember her just tearfully saying, um, Gloria gets by with so much more because she has emotional problems. you know, and, you know, it stopped my adopted mother in her tracks, though, and she really took it to heart and she paid attention. And it stuck me in the heart at the time too. I was old enough to figure out what she meant. And what she was meaning is I did get away with a lot of different behaviors that I was acting out
Yeah.
uh, because of emotional trauma and because she didn't have that suffering growing up. Um, any of her behaviors, whether just normal teenage things or whatever, got met with a much more serious reaction.
Yeah.
Mine was more excused. Oh, Gloria's got problems. And Christina, we expect more of you.
Yeah.
And
Which that's a hard one because, it's the individualities and understanding. That's why I say it's understanding how to parent that child.
right,
And you do have to allot for, some of that, but at the same time, they have to be accountable for their actions. And,
exactly.
so it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you
maybe,
have to hold even that emotionally traumatized child accountable for
yeah,
their actions because in society and in the real world, you will be held accountable as an adult.
yeah, you
You
are,
know,
yeah,
nobody says, "Oh, poor Gloria, she had a bad childhood, so sorry she robbed this convenience store, but she's excused for it." No, my butt's
yeah,
going to sit in prison for that, just like anyone else. But um, it's easy to look back and see what needed to be done.
yeah,
It's harder when it's your current state.
yeah,
When you
yeah,
pull aside spend that special time with the child that isn't traumatized. You know,
yeah.
you still need to know you're proud of them, and um,
Yeah, which at the same time, the child who's been traumatized, who's giving you such a fit, and you just don't even want to look at them. You're like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. Please don't even breathe. I don't want to hear you breathing. But to pull yourself back and go, hold on, look, because like Luke and I have been going head to head, and it's been a challenge. But we went fishing last weekend, and I told him, you and I need to go fishing, just you and me, because the
right,
younger ones. He's a serious fisherman. He caught what 7 or 8 fish, just last Saturday. He catches crap all the time. So, he really loves the fishing, and he just lit up with the thought. He's like, "Yeah, Mom, we need to plan it. We need to go." And he hasn't let me forget it. And I have to remind myself that no matter how challenging he is, no matter how much he's trying to butt heads with me and I butt heads with him, you know what? I need to do the positive attention as well. You know,
Right.
you know, because I do sometimes find, okay, you're on restriction, you're in trouble, blah 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 blah. You know, it's like, hold on, you cannot let that negativity control our relationship because that just festers. It's that vicious circle. You know, like, oh well, you know, I'm in trouble, I'm this and that, and then they're gonna react with that, and you know. But I
Right.
had to pull back and go, okay, you know what? Well, let's do this. You know, and that's what it takes to make them happy is a fishing trip. Let's go. I'm down.
Right. That's right.
You know, he takes the fish off the hook for me. I don't do live bait. We're good. You
Right.
know?
Now, my
So,
adopted mom did do that. Um, Once or twice a year, she would keep me home from school. She'd say, "We just need a day,"
yeah,
and she'd always say, "Gloria's having her period" or something like that. She's
yeah,
got cramps, and she'd keep me home from school, and it'd be like, "Okay, you can have the bathroom all to yourself." With all those kids, that was a luxury. We had one bathroom and a ton of kids, and she'd take us. She'd call it a stress tab. It was a vitamin B12, I think. She set me up for that Xanax issue that Fancy has.
right.
Take a stress tab, have a bath, and then we'd have tea. Just it was just my time with her.
Yeah,
Really, whether it was nothing really huge, no big activity, but it was what I craved, I guess, that she knew.
yeah.
And she
What you
did that
need.
with each one of us girls. And I'm sure they'd had different activities, but
Yeah.
even then that I like to be pampered and spa day is a
True.
thing.
True Smiles asked how many children you have, Gloria.
How many children do I have?
Uh
I
huh.
only have 3. I have the
Usually,
least amount of all my siblings, all my sisters.
oh, she says she's asked because she came from a family of 7, all adopted and 5 fostered. Oh, that's cool.
Oh
Well,
wow.
I have,
Oh, so my
yeah.
siblings, there were 5 of us in the home at all times. Between adopted and step in that family, there were 9 of us. And then getting Rebecca back, that makes 10 of us growing up. Rebecca and I didn't get to grow up together, but still it makes 5 girls and 5 boys.
Yeah. Yeah. She said omega 3. Yeah, so she
Omega
takes
3.
uh, you know,
Yeah.
for ADHD. I'm gonna look into that for him, and I'm gonna try him on that because man, we've gone this long. 3 months ain't nothing.
And I would think that it's something that every kid could take and it would help with focus. From what I understand, it's something that we kind of just lack.
Yeah.
But
Right.
read into it. I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Send pictures of him. Oh, of our 13-year-old fishing. I got pictures last weekend. I had to take a picture of him and every fish that he catches. And the youngest, he caught his first fish last Saturday too. He was so excited. First little fish he caught.
Sis, I wanted just to get on here and say hello and all of that. I've got to go do a CPR course.
Oh,
Yeah,
CPR. Hey,
I
real
get to be
talk
on
with
the
Mandy
heart
Chris.
monitor and do compressions too. I'm
Ask
just,
him how you do CPR on yourself if you need it.
yeah, they'll show me.
Right? They'll be like, well, wake up first.
I've taken this course through the same people for, gosh, since 2000. So a lot of times I'll just go in and it's just like, how many compressions do you do? How many respirations? If anything's changed in the guidelines, and out the door. So
I heard they stopped doing respirations on CPR.
that's not true. Not entirely true. No.
No, okay.
Yeah. The compressions are pretty much the most important thing,
Yeah,
but you still give those rescue breaths and Yeah, because that's what I thought too. I'm like, oh, I don't have to do
Yeah,
respiration. I'm like, no, you still do. But
yeah.
anywho,
Real
I
talk with
have to
Amanda and
go and
Chris.
do that.
They're in
Hmm?
here. Do you hear me? Real talk with Amanda and Chris. She popped in.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's so
yeah.
cool.
She says she doesn't know our story, but we're both amazing. Thank you.
Well, we're gonna probably be telling our story on Country Christians channel tomorrow. Um, I do need to talk to my family and make sure I'm not babysitting little ones, or if I am, how I'm going to make some arrangements around that. But should be a go for tomorrow, and
Yeah,
we can share our story and um,
yeah.
that'll
It's
be
such a
that.
long story, though. I mean, yada
Well,
yada.
if we could
I
just cut it into decades, sis.
mean, right? Yeah, it's a story. It's a lot of
I
people
was
have.
born by the river in a little town. Or no, I was born down by the river in a little tent. Song by
Well,
song, Sam Cooke.
well, that's my younger sister was born. You got good news and bad news. Good news is you have a sister now. Bad news
Yeah,
is the house burned down.
that's a true story.
Oh, she
She
was
was
so
born
hot.
from fire.
She was so hot she burned the house down.
That's right.
Hmm.
All right. I love you all. And I've got to get to that class here in about 20 minutes. So
Okay, love you and be careful. Take it easy.
I will.
Mwah,
I
mwah, mwah.
will.
All right. All
Love
right.
you.
Love you too. Yeah, we'll be on Country Christian. Does somebody want to drop her link? CJ maybe or Charlie Girl. Somebody got it so you can drop it and that way people will know. Um, we're gonna shoot for tomorrow night. Hopefully it'll all work out. Gloria can be there. Okay, so there's a link. I don't see the link. But okay. So all right, I know it was a heavier subject matter today. But it has been something that's been on my mind. There, CJ's got it. Yeah, sub up to Country Christian. As her name says, she's Christian. A lot of good daily affirmations that she does and stuff on there. Yes, Country Christian. I watch them. Um, oh, thank you, Yaya. Um, yep. So they both CJ and Yaya posted it. You can go on there. Sub to her, follow her, so you get those. Hit that like and the subscription and bell. You get notified. So, I guess we could probably do I could send out a little video reminder that we're going to be on her channel and what time. Um, like I said, firm it up and make sure that everything is a go for Gloria. Because I know she does watch her little grandchildren while her daughter's at work. Um, oh, country. No, Charlie, you got it too. Look, you can never have it in there too often. So, I think we're going to go ahead and end this. And, like I said, just, I have to remind myself sometimes these, abusive situations are really rear their ugly head sometimes. And, to pull back and just reevaluate things and remind myself as many times a day as I need to, I suppose. But remember that omega-3, yeah, because I'm going to seriously look into that. She's probably told me about it before and I just didn't remember. I don't know. But I'm going to try that and see if it works with my little guy. At this point, a little fish oil I don't think will hurt. If anything, it could have some good effects and it would be nice. But hope you guys have a great day. I know it's been a while since we've been on here and doing serious stuff. And I know there's more subject matters that I'd like to cover, but more in depth on certain things. I love you too, yeah. But hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to go and see if that movie is off in there. I think I got another 15 minutes. We'll see. Um, but you guys have a great day. Today is what? No, today's Friday. Friday. Have a great weekend. And hopefully we'll be on Country Christians tomorrow night and we can catch y'all there. Love you guys. Have a great, great day. And we'll talk to y'all later. Thank you for coming by.